Hey, hello, and welcome to Volleyball State, a
Hi.
look at the sport of volleyball in 6 rotations and a proud part of the I-80 Club. I'm Jeff Sheldon.
And I'm Lincoln Arneal.
Lincoln, it's here. The season opens this week, and we could not be more excited. After a couple weeks of exhibition matches, Nebraska is going to open the season this coming weekend at the AVCA First Serve. And hey, what else are we here for but to break it down for you tonight?
Yeah, but hey, today's show isn't just all about the upcoming season. We caught up with former Nebraska coach John Cook, who took time out of his schedule of he's working on a barn or shed in Wyoming.
He's doing a barn raising. I think he's panning for gold up there.
Yeah, he talked to us about his new gig as the general manager and co-owner of the Omaha Supernovas. So that's coming up.
And we are live tonight with our Patreon subscribers, pretty much as we're going to be every Sunday during the season. So thank you so much for supporting the show. And again, if you're hearing this on Tuesday or later when it's live for everyone else, you could have been here just a couple days earlier by being a subscriber to Volleyball State. That's just $5 a month at patreon.com/I80 Club. But hey, we've got good news for you. If you just want a little taste of what it's like to be a Volleyball State subscriber, let's give you a little bit of heads up on what we are going to be doing next week. So, of course, Nebraska and Pitt open the season on Friday at the AVCA First Serve. We've got a whole weekend of fun stuff planned. We're going to try to blow this out of the water and reach as many people as possible and bring them under the Volleyball State tent this coming week. So this coming weekend, Lincoln, we've decided to make all of our stuff, all of our live stuff, free to everyone. So that includes a live show that we're going to do on Friday afternoon, and pray to the technology gods that we can figure this out, because there is a small amount of baling wire and duct tape involved in what we're going to be trying to do. But we're going to be live from the AVCA block party in the rail yard down in Lincoln's Haymarket, just outside Pinnacle Bank Arena, where we're going to preview the matches on Friday afternoon, including Nebraska versus Pitt. If we can figure it out and the timing works out, we might even have some special guests. We're also going to be doing Friday night our first live post-game show of the season. We call it Volleyball Late, and we rolled it out during the spring exhibition matches. We're going to make that available free to everyone too. We're going to do that also live from the AVCA block party. That's going to come probably 30 to 45 minutes after the end of Nebraska versus Pitt, to give Lincoln some time to go down to do post-game. And then we're going to be right back here live next Sunday night at 7 o'clock, recapping Nebraska's opening matches against Pitt and Stanford. This is going to be your regular time for Volleyball State throughout the season. Sunday nights, 7 o'clock Central, where we're going to be live for our subscribers, and then it will be rolled into a show for everyone dropping on Tuesday mornings. So I'm already nervous thinking about it, but mostly just excited, Lincoln, because we're going to be all over stuff all next weekend.
Yeah, there's a volleyball party going on in Lincoln, and we're going to be taking part of it. And these are our people, so I'm excited to be down at the rail yard, hanging out that AVCA block party. So it'll be a lot of fun too. But we also want to thank our good friends at Alumni Hall. This show right now and all of our shows this fall are sponsored by Alumni Hall, the ultimate Huskers shopping destination. They have two locations, one on downtown Lincoln at 11th and P, and also at South Point Pavilion. The season's coming. You need stuff to wear. They got more volleyball merch than any other competing retailer. They got some comfort colors. They got a black shorts t-shirt. They got a Charlie Hustle volleyball t-shirt, and they got t-shirts and sweatshirts from Champion. So you need stuff to wear at the First Serve Showcase. Alumni Hall is the place to go. So, and listeners of our show can save 15% on all your Husker apparel. You can buy other sports too, but especially your volleyball apparel. Everything Alumni Hall mentioned, Volleyball State, if you're in the store or if you're shopping online at alumnihall.com, use the promo code volleyball, all one word, when you're at the checkout, and you can save 15% too. So that's our show. And if you want to follow Jeff and I on social media, interact with us at volleyballstate.com. We got a link tree set up for all of our social media, our YouTube, our emails, our Volleyball State merch. If you want if you support our show that way, you can get that all at volleyballstate.com.
We had a lot of fun on the Volleyball Pod Twitter account last night when we were watching the red white, or excuse me, the alumni match. A lot of interaction there and people chiming in. Also, if you're listening to us live tonight, we are in the I-80 Club Discord. You can find us at the Volleyball State channel. That's where discussion is taking place tonight. We've already got Thane coming at us with a big question. What's the biggest concern coming out of exhibition season? Theirs would be serve receive, offense from the second outside, and Andy Jackson not taking the next step at this point to be a blocker. Wow, you're getting way ahead of us. We'll get to all of that and more actually coming up here in rotation one. You want to just dive right in and start talking about the alumni match, and then we can get to that question as part of a larger discussion from Thane.
For sure, yeah. Let's rotation one. We're going to recap the alumni match from Saturday night. I think the biggest news that kind of everyone wanted to see was what was the starting lineup going to look like. I think Danny Busboom-Kelly said she was going to treat this as a kind of a dress rehearsal for that. And I think that meant that we're going to see our first look of who the first people are on the court we're going to be. And here's what we got. Outside hitter, no surprise. We had Harper Murray. And then we kind of saw a little bit of a split. Taylor Landfair played the front row, and she served. And then Terea Sigler came in and played the back row for her in that first set. Middle blocker, we had Rebecca Alec, Andy Jackson.
No surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise. And then opposite, we had Virginia Adriano as well. And then Bergen Riley at setter. And then Lainey Choboy was the libero. Olivia Malk did, man. She played 2.5 rows for Virginia. Virginia served, and then Malk came in and played DS the rest of the time. So, Jeff, I mean, any surprises, thoughts? Was that kind of aligned with what
none
you
of
were
this?
envisioning?
None of this was a surprise to me, and I think my question was who was going to be that second outside hitter, and apparently, according to Danny Busboom-Kelly's post-game comments, that's probably the hardest position to pick right now, because not only did Taylor Landfair have a solid defensive match, and I think that's kind of what they're looking for from her right now, and Sigler put away some kills. But, Skylar Pierce, just when you're sort of focusing the discussion on Landfair and Sigler, is always right there to remind you that she's there and that she can do some really impressive things athletically. So Nebraska's kind of spoiled for riches at the outside hitter position, although you want at least one of them to just really take the next step and be an elite player. And I think that's what Nebraska is hoping that Harper Murray is, right? Someone who can get up there close to 4 kills a set. She's Nebraska's best overall player right now. But, I think even Larry Putney mentioned this on the Nebraska Public Media broadcast last night, is they're waiting for her to take that next step and be an absolutely elite Terminator. It sounds like Taylor Landfair is going to get the edge, Lincoln, at that second outside hitter spot, because she's one of the better blockers on the team. She's 6'5", right? Your outside hitter is going to match up across the net from the other team's opposite hitter. And who does Nebraska have staring them in the face in the season opener? Probably the best opposite hitter in the country in Pittsburgh's Olivia Babcock. So even if only for that reason right now, Taylor Landfair looks like she's going to probably get the start in the front row. And maybe you see what happens in the alumni match where Sigler comes in and plays back row for her, and you have a front row, back row rotation of outside hitters. But, you're hoping Landfair can also, put away 2 balls a set too.
Yeah, that's, I mean, to get to things kind of question too, that was kind of an underwhelming part overall for the match, was that second outside hitter position. Harper Murray did have 12 kills, and she only played 3 sets. So there's your 4 kills per set that you want to see out of her. And also she hit 476. So she looked really good. But behind her, I don't know if you saw flashes of brilliance too. I mean, you mentioned Skylar Pierce had that one amazing shot right down the line that bounced, that looked really good, but she only had 5 total attacks, had I think 3. I mean, she had 2 kills on 5 swings.
Landfair only had 4. I couldn't believe that at the end of the night.
Taylor Landfair only had 2 kills, 1 error on 4 swings. She did not have a block. I'm checking my stats just to make sure. Yeah, she didn't have a block too. So, I mean, she was a pretty much non-factor for the match. But Terea Sigler really got opportunity. She had 25 swings, the most of anybody on the current Nebraska team, but only had 6 kills, 5 errors. The other place I thought where she did do well was was the high target for serve receive, and had 20 serve receives, didn't give up an ace. So, I mean, that's why she's playing back row for Landfair too, because she can be She's a good passer, but I would have liked her to see she's getting 25 attacks. I mean, that's under a 250 kill rate, not even hitting percentage, but a kill percentage is you want to get that up a little bit, 300, 400 at least from her. And so I would like to see her terminate a little bit more.
Yeah. What is it? 6 kills, 4 errors, 25. And I'm not looking at the numbers, but it seems like it's something like that. Yeah. So, one of the questions that they asked us at the beginning, one of his biggest concerns is offense from that second outside spot. That's something that you need to see, because I think Harper Murray is a known quantity, and you feel pretty good about her. But this was the seesaw that Nebraska rode last year too at that outside hitter position spot. It was Taylor Landfair, it was Lindsey Krause, and it was back and forth, and neither of them really pulled away from the other, and Landfair ended up earning the starting nod maybe about midway through the season. But Nebraska needs some offense out of that position if they want to be a truly elite team. So that's what we're looking at for outsides. You want to talk a bit about the setters, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Bergen Riley seems like she has been drawing some pretty high praise from Danny Busboom Kelly the last couple of weeks, even after the red-white. Bergen seems pretty established at this point that she's going to be the starter. I thought she set a really good match on Saturday. And then even beyond that, the one thing Bergen brings you is she's an additional, I should say, is she's a really good defensive setter, right? She digs balls and can kind of help orchestrate things back there. And a freshman is probably not going to come in and do that right away. So I think Bergen Riley is a steady, strong all-around setter. And every time, I try to talk myself out of Bergen, it's like, wait a minute, they're like 66-5 with her, 62-5 or something like that over the last 2 years, which is nothing to sneeze at. So Bergen Riley, expect her to earn the starting job going into Friday's match against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I thought she looked really good. If you look hard enough at the tape, there will be a couple balls that she misses, but it's not going to be 100%. But I thought she connected really well. What I think I tweeted this out too, is you really saw that connection with Andy Jackson. The slide was a lot quicker, where Andy was hitting it right as the ball got over the net and not waiting for it to get to the outside right pin on that slide attack. So I thought that she fed Andy Jackson really well. Riley had 37 assists. Nebraska hit above 400 in the first 2 sets, and like you said, she moved the defense with 8 digs for the match too. I mean, so Nebraska did run a 5-1. They did a double sub, I think, late in the second, and then Bergen came back in at the end of the third set. I mean, I don't think it was not anything based on her play or Campbell Flynn's play. They just wanted to see what that looks like, kind of in the middle of a set. Insert Flynn and Allie check to see what kind of, if that changes the rhythm, it changes the flow of the offense, gives them a different look. So I think they're just test driving that out to see if that's a possible tool they can use this season.
At opposite, Virginia Adriano got the start. No real surprise there in my mind, and she was really good in the 2 sets she played. She only played the first 2 sets, 6 kills without an error on 10 swings, hit 600. And what I wrote in my kind of reaction piece on Husker Max was, if the Alumni had won that 4th set, and it looked for a long time like they were going to, would she have come back in Game 5? Would they have brought Adriano off the bench? Even though it was an exhibition, she'd been sitting for a while. Like, you want to win this, right? You don't want to lose to the Alumni. So I would imagine she would have come back in, but she looked really impressive. I think they got her the ball a little bit higher maybe than in the red-white scrimmage, and she put away some angles that nobody else on Nebraska can probably hit.
Yeah, I mean, 6 kills, 0 errors on 10 swings too. That's 0 errors that we kind of, all of the opposites last week really struggled with hitting errors. And she really, I think like you said, they got her the ball in a better position where she can use her height, her length, and those angles too. So I was really impressed with her. And also, hey, she came to the post-game press conference and she was so nervous. I don't know if she's ever done a media session, but I'm guessing she hasn't. Not many volleyball players have done a media session with 20 people in a room too, but she was lovely to meet. She's one takeaway from the American culture is that Americans, especially Nebraskans, love ranch and they put it on everything. So
yeah, she doesn't know America with that comment. She knows Nebraska though.
Yeah, she knows Nebraska.
It's a strong regional affectation, but she played really well. And then, I think it's safe to say after last night, it's pretty clear Lainey Choboy is going to get the first crack at being a starting libero. Although Olivia Mauk just continues to remind us that she's really good, especially in serve receive. But Lainey Choboy maybe a little bit more all around impressive, or maybe it's even kind of the energy that she brings, because she's a fire plug out there.
And that's what Danny kind of said in the post-game press conference too. I mean, she said the Stars did what they were supposed to do. Look, I mean, singling out Murray, Jackson, Riley, and Choboy was the fourth one of them. So I think when she's singling out that, she even said that the play may not be even at times too, but she gives that spark to the team, which is what they need right now. So I think I would expect to see Choboy wearing the libero jersey on Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that jumped out to me was, Rebecca Alec only played the first two sets too. I mean, she had 3 kills, 5 swings. I mean, you get 5 swings in 2 sets, pretty good. But Manaya Obeche, I thought she really did good stuff in the last. She played the last 2 sets, kind of in Alex plays too.
She's gonna be so good.
Yeah, 6 kills, 9 swings, 1 air, and then also had three blocks in 2 sets, which is really good. What you want to see from there, and just looked like she belonged, looked comfortable out there, and just kind of let the game come to her and didn't force the issue.
Well, like she's an elite athlete, but you expect her to seem, kind of nervous. She's such a good technical blocker as well. Like, she's going to be out there intimidating people, even though she's a freshman. She got a kill that got the current Husker team to match point, that got them to 24 points in game 4. And, she looks comfortable hitting the slide. She's going to punish overpasses, and she's going to roof a lot of people when she's out there in the match. So, that was really fun to see. And I don't know, Lincoln, I want you to steer us through the next session, but like my big takeaway from the match was, man, this was just so fun.
Yeah.
Like, because the alumni didn't just come out there and like loaf it through an intramural match. Like, they were working really hard, and you're reminded how really good some of those players are. Like Kelly Hunter, no joke. Like, this is not hyperbole. Kelly Hunter could earn a spot on like a love team this season if she really wanted to. She's better than some of the setters I watched play in that league last year, and she hasn't set in 7 years.
Well, she did play one season for Athletes Unlimited. That's kind of her pro. I mean, she played 1 year in foreign before she came back, but then she played it was right after the pandemic, so like 21, 22. She played with Athletes Unlimited. Jordan got her to come on down for the short season that they do. But I mean, she hasn't played. That was 3-4 years ago. She hasn't played competitively other than the gym, and she looked good. I mean, she was the engine that kind of ran that team. And one of the fun parts is that I think they had a bet or something, or just kind of a casual rivalry between the current team and Kelly, who coaches the current team, to whether or not she would get a dump kill. And she had a nice little 2-hand push over on second touch and caught the whole Nebraska team looking on defense. So they enjoyed that too. So she was really good too. But I thought, like you said, this was a fun game. They came out swinging. Allie Batenhorst looked really good. Lindsay Krause. I mean, if she had played, I forget you said this or something, but if she had played as free during her Husker career as she did in the alumni match too, she may have earned a lot more playing time. But I think the other highlight for me was Lauren Stivrins. She just out there she had 10 kills, played opposite, and looked healthy, like she was having fun. And she had one of the highlights for me after the match. She was talking to our friend Anna Bellinghausen from her dad, and said that may be her last ever indoor match. I mean, she's not going to play competitive beach. She may play recreational, but she was getting choked up. And if that was, what a way for her to go out. She put on a really impressive performance.
She played for Love Omaha last year, right? And I'm sitting here watching Lauren Stivrins and Andy Jackson hitting slides on opposite teams. It was like watching Iron Man and Captain America and Civil War. I was like, who are you pulling for? Because they're both just punishing volleyballs. It was so cool to see. And even Jordan Larson's out there diving for digs. Kenzie Maloney last week, right on the show, was talking about how she didn't know if she'd be able to get to some balls, and she's laying out for ones. Like, there was a ton of pride on that alumni team, and some really, really good players. Like, if they had maybe one
more than 40 minutes
back row player, like one more back row player. Justine was playing with them.
Well,
maybe this goes 5.
Yeah, and well, they kind of also did a tweak where Gina Mancuso-Prosaski, she was playing libero the last two, at least in the stats, she was playing libero, and Kenzie was playing DS, I think, for when Lauren was playing opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of modified their roster to do that too. But yeah, but Kenzie also had one of the highlights of play. I mean, maybe her, I don't know, I don't know if her age is showing, but she had a kick save, and that was it was a beauty. So that was a fun moment too. But it was, yeah, and talking to them, seeing them kind of, I mean, Kelly Schwarzenbach coming back and blocking everything in her reach would look good. It was just a fun match, a great way to see the current edition connect with a lot of their former teammates and legends at Nebraska, people they've maybe used to watch on TV growing up. So it was a really fun thing. I mean, and I thought some of them might have been playing for future professional contracts. This a good on their highlight tape of, this is why you should sign me.
Well, and like the way Kelly Hunter was running her middles too, like Layla Blackwell was putting balls down, and I know Callie Schwarzenbach had a couple of kills, and you're like reminded how well a good setter can make your team look. Right? Yeah. If you can pass, and it seemed like the Alumni team could ball handle pretty well, then if you have a good setter like Kelly Hunter, like she's gonna put the ball in positions where you're gonna be able to do some damage, and it just sort of reinforced to me how good a setter she was at the college level, only setter in Husker history to win 2 national championships, really good defensive setter as well. And you're like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. She also dug Andy Jackson's slide with one arm. So really impressive stuff too. So
I wonder if she can feel that arm today.
I hope so. My only complaint was we need to get them better jerseys. The shirts they were wearing was just oversized, and like they only had extra larges or whatever. Let's get them.
Kenzie Maloney looked like she's playing in a nightgown. Like it must have had a one-size-fits-all shirt order.
We'll work on that for next year too. But before we move on, I want to go back to Thane's original question too. Now that we're done with the 2 exhibitions, the season's starting. What's your biggest concern going into the real season now?
Yeah. He mentioned serve receive. I'm not super concerned with serve receive, at least until I see someone breaking them down that's different than Jordan Larson, who did it a couple times on Saturday night. It probably is that second outside hitter position, right? You want to be able to score points in all 6 rotations. And so whether it's Taylor Landfair, who did have a really impressive kill, right? Like one of her 2 kills last night was, I think, a 4-4 shot. So like sharp cross court that nobody was digging, and you're like, wow, can you do that 6 times a match? That would be cool. Or Sigler, who was kind of high air a little bit last night. Like there's something there, but they've got to settle on who that second outside hitter is, and the person who earns that job has to make them settle on it by impressing this weekend.
Yeah, I that's where I kind of landed too, and we've already talked about it a bit too. I mean, they showed flashes too, like Pierce's kill, like you said, Landfair's kill. I thought Sigler had some good shots too, and her passing, I think, is a real difference maker as far as determining who's going to get playing time in that outside hitter position. But you need more offensive production on it, and hopefully, again, playing time was a little bit wonky for that position.
And they keep switching setters, right? Nebraska hasn't the last couple been able to use one setter and even in the red-white, they're mixing the hitters all around, even though the setters stay the same. Did you notice, Lincoln, Bergen Riley didn't really set back row much last night? Or
there were a few.
Sigler.
Yeah, Harper Murray had maybe 4 different shots. I mean, she never really swung. Harper Murray had more tip shots. Sigler had a couple, but yeah, it was more than it was in the red-white. But yeah, there was not as much as you might see later down the road.
All right. Is that all we have for the alumni match?
Should they do it again next year? That's my closing question.
It sounds like they want to.
Danny wants to train for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great if those players had like a week together in the gym. I don't know. Like it's cool and nostalgic. I kind of want Nebraska to play an exhibition match, and maybe they could do all 3. I don't know. Like they play the alumni match on Saturday.
2 exhibitions.
Yeah. And so like red, white, and maybe they could bring in a team. All these teams were playing exhibitions this weekend. Texas played Utah. Creighton played Colorado State. I think Wisconsin played Notre Dame today.
Correct.
I think that would be cool if you brought in another team, maybe a regional team, and played that. But if I can have my cake and eat it too, then yeah, absolutely. I would love to see the alumni match continue to be a thing, because you could tell the fans loved it. I love that they brought Steve Johnson back to do public address announcing. Like, I wrote a story on them 15 years ago or 10 years ago when they were retired, and he's so good. They're such pros, and they're really sweet people too. The whole evening was just really cool to watch.
Yeah. Then you had another alum, Nancy Metcalf, calling on Nebraska Public Media as well too. So his alumni were involved everywhere. Renee Saunders did a great job coaching that team. So I hope they do it again, whether it's not next year, but maybe it's an every other year type of deal. And so hopefully maybe they can get Lexi Rodriguez back, do it when they're not preparing for the World Championships, and get her back as well too. So absolutely. Yeah, that's a good event. Let's hopefully do it again. Let's move on to rotation 2. So
right.
We're going to talk to We're going to talk to John Cook. We did talk to John Cook too. So we had a great interview with him, talked to him for about almost a half hour as well too, about what the job looks like, what goes into being a general manager of a professional franchise, why he is yes, he's retired from coaching, but he's not retired from life. So he's out there doing big things. And we also talked to him about the current team, what Harper Murray needs to do at the to jump to the next level too. We talked about our competition last week, the John Cook's Last Ride, that was on Nebraska Public Media as well too. So check out our interview with John Cook.
Welcome back to Volleyball State, a familiar face, but with a brand new title now, the general manager and now co-owner of the Omaha Supernovas, John Cook. John, how you doing? Thanks so much for being here.
I'm doing great. Just taking a break from building a storage shed. So
see, when you were telling us that off camera, I thought you were going to say you were building a podcast studio, and I'm like, man, another person you have to compete with.
Yeah, we could put a section in this thing and have a podcast studio. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would take you about 2 weeks to surpass us in terms of downloads. So we're really grateful that you're joining us. But it sounds like you've got plenty of other things that are currently occupying your time and your attention. We get the big news a couple of weeks ago. Now you're the general manager and a part owner of the Omaha Supernovas. Tell us a little bit about that, how exactly that came to be, how long these conversations have been going on.
So I guess let's go back about a month. Diane Mendenhall, who's the president of Supernovas, reached out to me. Of course, Diane and I go way back. I hired her as the first director of ops for Nebraska Volleyball. Stayed in touch with her, and she said, hey, would you be interested in coaching? And I thought about it for about 20 minutes, and I said, I can't look my granddaughter in the eye and tell her I'm going to be gone for 6 months. And so that was the end of that. And then she came back and said, would you be interested in helping us out with some things and maybe even become a general manager? And I go, I don't know. But send me a job description, what you're thinking, and so on. And so as all that was transpiring, I kind of told her that I would help her find a coach because there was some transition going on there. And so I just did that, on my own to help her out as a friend, and started going through the process, got a hold of Luca and got Luca on board, got him signed, and it works out great for him because he's got USA Men basically May through November. He's got Supernovas December through May. So now when we get to the Olympic year, that may change, but he's super fired up. He's a world-class coach, in my opinion. So it just worked out great. And then they sent me everything about the general manager stuff. And part of the compensation kind of is, having an ownership share in this. And if you look at pro sports teams right now, especially women, the San Francisco WNBA team just got valued at $500 million. Yeah. So, if this thing takes off like they think it will, and like I think it will, and again, they sold me on this new league and what they're going to do and the standards they're going to have, and it's going to be, they've got some really big time owners coming into this. But more importantly, the main motivation for me in all this is I felt like I could have a chance to help get a pro league started in this country. And again, when I say started, they're already going, but get a great pro league that could be one of the best pro leagues in the world for any women's sport. And so I thought if I could help with that, that would be another great thing I could do. And of course, it's all in Nebraska. We're starting, we're setting the tone. So that was really my main motivation, is if I could be a difference maker, that still fires me up. And again, the Supernova people, Diane and her staff, and I mean, I was really, really impressed with everything with the Supernovas. I mean, it feels like you're with an NFL team, an NBA team. I mean, it's just, everything's high level.
Yeah.
So I was excited to work with those people.
Yeah, you mentioned Diane Mendenhall. I mean, she was director of operations at Nebraska Volleyball a long time ago and was heavily involved with that program too. But now she's your boss, I guess. I mean, what is it like to have her as your supervisor, to be able to work with her again?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it just feels like it just went full circle. We're back where we were in 2000. Mm-hmm. We talk every day. She's a great idea person. She gets stuff done. And I mean, we didn't miss a beat, really. That's what it feels like. And it's, she's working really hard and has done a great job. And I mean, Supernovas has set the standard for everybody trying to match it. And a lot of the credit goes to Diane.
The position general manager can mean a lot of different things, I think, depending on the league, depending on the franchise. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly is the job day to day? Is it player acquisition? Is it salary negotiation? You mentioned helping to find a coach. What exactly are you being looked to do?
So it's a really good question. I'm glad you asked it. My main responsibility is to kind of problem solve and oversee everything. So if we break that down, I'm going to oversee the staff, make sure they have everything what they need, help them solve problems that come up. I'm helping put together a team with Luca, and Thomas, the other assistant coach, is a young coach. He was there last year. I'm very impressed with him. And so just helping those guys, so basically it's what I did at Nebraska Volleyball, but I'm not coaching every day like I was then. And then overseeing their performance team, helping them get everything they need. So I've already talked to our trainer, and there's some things that she would like to get. So I'm going to be working on that the next few weeks, helping her get that to, again, just keep raising the level of this thing. So basically a problem solver, oversee everything and manage things as they come up. We're going to be announcing another assistant coach here, and he's got the contract today. So as soon as he signs that, something will be coming out, and we still have a couple more players. So, when this free agency deal started, I mean, literally it was worse than June 15th for, talking to 10th graders. It was unreal. A whole new world for me. You're just negotiating, trying to sign players. You got all these other teams talking. It was nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, let's dive into that. I mean, how is building a professional volleyball roster different than college? I mean, I assume it's different because you were starting from a blank slate this year, but how do you go about building that completely from scratch compared to what you were used to in the college game?
Well, because they merged this year, I don't think it'll be that way next year, because I think you'll have players that'll stay with the program or stay with the Supernovas. So, but what happened was they kind of cleared the slate. And I think there was one franchise player maybe per. But anyway, that was Brooke Nunaville for us. So we could have conversations with Brooke going, and we were talking to her. But otherwise, it was just a free-for-all. And so it was, like I said, it was nuts. Exciting, but I mean, after 3 days, everybody was exhausted, and you're again, a lot of their agents are in Europe. Mm-hmm. So you're talking to them, they're sleeping, and when we're working, the communication was really difficult. And these players are just trying to make decisions, and so it was recruiting 101 full bore for me. So it wasn't much different. You just had more people, and you hadn't been recruiting them for 2 years or watching them, and that was the difference. So I had to really get up to speed quickly on who we wanted. And we had a draft board and everything going in. I mean, it was, again, the best. Ironically, right when I made up the decision for all this, we were watching Moneyball again. And that's what it is. It's Moneyball.
Yeah.
Moneyball. You're just trying to figure out, especially with a salary cap, who can you get for what price? You got to manage everything. And it's really, really challenging.
So it's you and like how many other people in the Supernovas draft room? Just like everyone's on the phone, is everyone watching tape, trying to identify players, or had the player ID part sort of already happened before you came on board? And give us a picture of that, because we've all seen Draft Day, we've all seen Moneyball. Like, what's that look like for the Omaha Supernovas?
Yeah, we had a big, so we call it the war room. We had a big whiteboard. We had team 1, team 2, team 3, ideally what we wanted. We had our list of players by position. We had what they made last year, what we were projecting they would make this year. So we had numbers, and we constantly had on an Excel sheet, as we were signing players, updating our salary cap, because you can get carried away and all of a sudden you're like, wow, we got nothing left. We still got 5 more players to sign.
Mm-hmm.
So you really had to pay attention as things were happening, and they were happening very fast. But in that room was Diane, Thomas, Luca and I were, piped in. And then also some other people, and Kurt, one of the owners, was in there for a while, in and out. And so, it was a war room. We had Melissa, who's the kind of the secretary, because she's ready. Like, so let's say Lincoln, okay, we agreed. Boom, here comes what they call LOA. Here comes the LOA. Sign it. Okay, we're waiting for you to sign it, because somebody else might jump in. So there was a sense of urgency. So she was there probably 16, 18 hours a day, ready to send the paperwork out once it happened. Because you never know when it's not like, oh, at 10 o'clock, let's decide. It's like, boom, all of a sudden somebody makes a decision and we go.
Yeah. We mentioned Thomas a couple of times. That's Thomas Robson. He's an assistant coach last year under Bird Coon's staff, and will stay on with the new regime too. But just want to make sure we knew. Yeah. We're saying Thomas a lot. That's who we're referring to. The first 3 signings were all kind of the new acquisitions of Merritt Beeson, Sidney Hilly, and Morgan Hentz. 3 players you're very familiar with from your coaching days. Either you coached them or you coached against them a lot too. How much were you relying on your time in college volleyball to know who these players are and kind of help prioritize and figure out what would be good fits together?
Yeah, well, the good thing was we kind of through Brooke, these guys all talk. Mm-hmm. So we kind of knew going in who was interested in being a Supernova, because I think the reputation in the league is a lot of players want to play in Omaha. You're playing in front of 11,000 people.
Yeah,
you get first-class treatment. The apartments they get are brand new, beautiful. I went and toured all this and saw all this in Zimpapillion, this new district they're building. It's hot for a 20-something volleyball player being in Omaha. You're close to everything you want to do. So we kind of knew going in who we had a shot at and who we wanted to go after. And so that kind of gave us a leg up, and that's why we started. And Merritt, they told me she's gotten the loudest ovation of anybody when she came back to Omaha.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
People in Nebraska love the Huskers, and so she was a priority. That was what they told me. You got to go get Merritt. So
we talked to her a little bit too, and she said it wasn't that you didn't have to make too convincing articles. Like, you want to come. Just come on, let's get this over with.
Yeah, and again, I think one of the big attractions was when we hired Luca. That's why we had to get that done before the draft, because now you get. Those Nova players are going to get to train with somebody who's won a gold medal. He's been in the professional leagues. He's coaching the USA men right now. He's coached in college, so he knows a lot of these players as well. But you have the chance to train with him, and that is an edge we have over every other team. There's no greater connection to the USA program, or if they want to advance and be a part of that, he knows what it takes, and he can get them there. And so he's a proven world-class coach, in my opinion. And that was another big thing that somebody like Merritt, hey, I got a chance to go train with Luca.
Yeah, first time I ever heard the name Luca Slabe, I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Hildebrand talking to me about this undersized outside hitter that he was showing tape of to Ani Albright to show her how you can still be effective as an undersized outside hitter. And, however many years later now, 8 or 9 years later, he's the head coach of the Supernovas.
Yeah, that's a great memory, by the way. And I actually tried to hire Luka one time as an assistant coach. And at the time he was, still involved back in Slovenia, and his family was back there. So the timing just didn't work out. Because he's got one of his sons is playing hockey now up in Canada. He's a big time hockey player. And I remember where his daughter was at the time, but it just didn't work out. But it worked out for him. And of course, I helped him kind of get the North Carolina State job. And then he hired Jeremiah, who was one of our GAs, as an assistant coach, who went and is doing a great job there.
The roster that I think we're looking at right now for the Supernovas for 2026 has 11 players on it. Do you have a few more roster spots you've got to fill out? And what's kind of the timeline on that look like?
Yeah, we're on the clock right now. We want 3 more. We have 3 more players we want to sign. Or we're going to wait till the draft. So that's kind of the mode we're in right now. And one of the things I learned about the draft last year, you want to draft players, but, they're coming off a college season. They get about a very short break, especially if they go to the Final Four or something. They get like a week off, and then they're back in the gym. And I noticed, like a Merritt and some of these other players, they were really inconsistent with their performances. Well, you think about they're not used to going that long, that hard, and making that adjustment right after coming off a college season. So we want to be involved in the draft, but we're also still looking at some other players that haven't signed yet. There's still a lot out there, and there's some that are coming back from Europe, and it's just every day we're talking to somebody different, and we just got to find the right fit and make it happen. But our goal is to have 14 players in the gym.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of this too is, being a co-owner, was that something that was presented with that general manager? And now do you have a new rivalry with Jordan Larson, who's now co-owner of the Love Nebraska team too? Now that you're in 2 different leagues, you have a new rivalry with her.
I don't know about the rivalry. We are interested in playing a match in Devaney. Troy's already agreed to that. The question will be trying to find a time, because the spring is nuts with gymnastics and everything going on in there, wrestling. Only in Nebraska would something like this happen. And ironically, it was not designed to come out the same day. When that all came out, I'm like, what is going on here? The volleyball gods they're just bringing all this focus to volleyball in Nebraska, but it just shows you where we're at as a state for volleyball. You got volleyball state on here. We are the volleyball state.
Yeah, we had to sit down. So many people asked us, like, when that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when all this news was coming out a couple weeks ago, they're like, when are you guys going to work this into one of the shows? And we're like, we have to do an extra show just talking about this, because we want to make sure that the Huskers get their focus. And so we sat down, we did like a whole hour just on the crazy week in professional volleyball. But you're absolutely right. The state has such a focus on it. And we kind of saw evidence of that again this past weekend with the Nebraska Public Media feature, I guess I would call it, on you, and the last ride with John Cook, and Lincoln and I have both seen it, and we chatted with you a little bit before we started recording about it. Want to switch gears and ask about that just a little bit. You have seen how these things come together over the last couple of years. There was the Big Ten Network documentary that included some of the footage from Volleyball Day in Nebraska. There was the E60 ESPN special. But this is the first time one of those has been, exclusively focused on you and on your family. Did that feel different when it was coming together? Did you have any kind of hesitations, or how exactly did they pitch this to you?
I really did not want to do it. I just thought, it was just weird, and again, I want the attention to be on volleyball and the Huskers, but when they said, and I just said, anyway, they got to me, and when they said they wanted to come to Wyoming for 3 days and film up here, I'm like, okay, I can't turn this down. Because now I can show everybody Wyoming. We can do the roping thing and the horse deal, which has created a whole new world in life for me, and people are so interested in it. And I do a lot of speaking all over the state, and we talk about horses everywhere I go. And so anyway, but Kylie, who's the director, producer, she just convinced me that this thing could be really cool. And ironically, Sunday night when they premiered it, they broke a record, and I won't tell you how far they broke it by. It was unbelievable because they said they wanted to be their pledge, right? Mm-hmm. And so they'll continue to play that and have pledges on it. Mm-hmm. But I thought if I could help support Nebraska Public Television, which really started Nebraska volleyball, if you look at it. I mean, they're the ones that put Nebraska volleyball in every house in Nebraska way back in the late 80s. Yeah. And so if I could give back, then I thought this will be worth it. And then when they said they wanted to get Madden involved and be in it, that melted my heart. But here's one thing I want to share with you guys. Why I was exploring the Novas and looking at all this, and Diane sending me all this information, over half their audience now are moms and daughters. And to me, that if this pro league is going to go, that's who's going to drive the market. And that really hasn't happened in other sports. It's typically more males driving it, that type of thing, or retired people. If you look at Nebraska volleyball, there's a lot of retired people, there's a lot of families, but now the Supernovas, I think it was like 60% of the fan base are moms and daughters. And I thought, okay, they're tapping into the right deal. And I thought this last ride and having Madden in there, and they put, Lauren flashbacks, which I got a bunch of crap from Lauren because I didn't care about her during the match. So that didn't go over very well. But bottom line is, this is the future for professional sports in this country. And the fact they're tapping into it, I thought this last ride could be a great compliment to that.
For sure. And I think the other most impressive part too is that the view. I mean, the grand room where you had that, you and Larry were sitting for the interview. I mean, you wake up to that view every day and get a mountain view. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We really lucked out. We got this thing during COVID. We bought this lot, and we just really lucked out. And it's beautiful up here. And then they flew the drones above, and that was really cool. Seeing it from an aerial view. And they wanted to do the drones when we were roping, but it freaks out the horses because the horses are like, they think something's going to attack them, Oh, yeah. They're buzzing up there. So we tried it, and I'm like, hey, somebody's going to get bucked off here.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise. But I want to switch gears for a couple more questions here too. I mean, talk about the current edition of the Huskers. You usually like to keep a little bit smaller roster, right around about 14 players in the gym. A question that Jeff and I get a lot from listeners is, I mean, is there such a thing as having too much depth? I mean, or is that just Danny dealing with? That's a problem she has to deal with now.
Well, a couple things happened. First of all, one year, and I don't remember the year, you guys might remember, I think we had 17, I read, the max. And I remember after that year, we are never carrying that many players again. We want to be between 12 and 14. And but what happened was with the revenue share, not only did more, the money come in, but they added up to 18 scholarships. Yeah. And Troy supported her using those scholarships. So now not only you can recruit with NIL money or revenue share, but you can also throw in a full scholarship. So if somebody's not getting revenue share, or they're a freshman, or they're new, like Kenna Coggill was late, right? Well, she got a full ride. And, eventually she'll tap into that. I don't know how Danny's adjusted it, but we had it all worked out before I left. And we didn't have those extra players, except for Virginia. I started recruiting her way before she ended up signing. We were recruiting her for a while. So we knew we had that planned in the revenue share type deal. But that's what it opened up. And I think that's what kind of, and there's so much interest. Everybody wants to be a Husker. So I think that's what allowed her to get that bigger roster. So we'll see how it goes. But, man, having that depth and competition in practice is unbelievable. Now, one of her challenges will be, can everybody stay happy for the next 4 months? Yeah. And can they still be a really close-knit team and support each other? And they're great. They've got a great group. And that, again, I've said this a million times, I wanted to hand off a great team to Danny that was ready to go. They're tight. Nobody left. I mean, so that's all worked out really well. And so it'll be interesting to see. But man, their practice. I get on video and watch practice. I mean, it's
intense.
It's great. I mean, they've got a great gym going right now. And that's hard to do. I can remember, the old days we'd have to get guys to play the red white.
Yeah.
Now they got a full roster going.
They were in a 6-2 on one side. They had so many players.
I know. Yeah, it was. I mean, how awesome was that?
I was trying to put this thought together on our show last week, and I really need like a coach to be able to walk me through this too. But speaking about competition, we have this perception of competition that it's a rising tide that always lifts all boats, and I think that's always true for the team. But like, are there some players that you coached, or did you see this as a coach where some players individually wouldn't fully thrive or flourish until they had earned a spot and could just sort of relax, and they weren't always looking over their shoulder at the next person breathing down their neck?
Well, was always one of my philosophies is, in building a team, and then once you get a starting lineup, letting those guys go. And, I've read this and heard this. Danny loves to substitute. She rotates everybody. We got a starting lineup, man. We let those guys go. And now we would rotate people, but, we had a group, and, hey, it's your deal. And everybody else was a game changer. You be ready to go when you come in and go for it. We wanted to have that freedom. But I was much more conservative. And I think Danny, it'll be interesting to see, because they can get in the game if things aren't going good. I mean, they can completely change the whole look of a match with substituting.
For sure. Another player I want to talk about too. I mean, Harper Murray, a very close relationship with her, very important figure in her life. But on the court, what does she need to develop to become an unstoppable scorer?
Harper is maturing physically, and players like that, and again, we know how to, when I say we, the strength staff and everybody knows how to manage her. So she's gotten a lot stronger. She's matured now. She's got a lot of the distractions, I'll call it interference, out of the way now. So for her, I think she can really lock in and has a chance to be great this year. And again, I think with Merritt leaving and Lexi leaving, she knows the light's on her. And she's been used to that through club and high school, but especially legacy club she played for. The light was always on her. And you go to a club tournament, I mean, she gets mobbed.
Oh, yeah.
So she's used to that. And now I think she has the confidence, and she'll have the strength and the stamina to go through a whole season. And she's, gotten through the growing pains, which a lot of them all go through. And so, and she realizes she's got 2 more shots to win a national championship. And, I sent her after Connecticut won, Paige.
Packers, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she realized, man, I was running out of chances, and everybody thought they'd win 4 with her. So I think there's a sense of urgency for Harper now. And again, a lot of that comes through maturity and growing up.
It kind of reminds me of a player like Michaela Fecke, who was really good her freshman and sophomore years, but it wasn't until she kind of had the added responsibility of playing 6 rotations, and she definitely was another player who spent a lot of time on her athleticism and really sort of peaked as a junior and senior. Is that sort of the growth path that we could even see for Harper?
That's what I'm hoping for, and I from what I'm hearing and seeing, she's put herself in a position to do that.
Yeah. And here we were talking to you 6 months ago. We talked to you about how you were retiring and stepping away from coaching. But we've talked to you a lot about your new job, being the general manager. You've also tried your hand at broadcasting as well, too. I mean, I've heard you're lining up a schedule for this fall, too. Do you know what you're going to be calling this fall? And what do you look forward to about broadcasting?
Well, when we did, so they asked me to do the Kansas match in the spring. It was the highest rated show for the month of April on Big Ten. And everybody just said, man, this is awesome. All the people at Big Ten, this is awesome. You opened a whole new world for us. Because basically I just pretend I'm coaching and I talk about what I see. So, so they asked me, they literally sent me a full schedule, and I said, listen, I can't do this. I promised my granddaughter. I'll be there on Halloween. I've got a birthday. I've got a family little trip planned. So I'm like, I whittled it down. So I think I'm doing, and the other problem is they don't want me doing Nebraska matches during Big Ten because they're worried about offending other coaches or they might feel uncomfortable. So anyway, I'm going to do a lot. I'm doing the AVCA Showcase first weekend in Sioux Falls, because that'll be Big Ten. So I'm doing a doubleheader there. And then I'm going to do some of the non-conference, Arizona, Cal, those matches. And I'm going to be back there anyway, so it all worked out. And then the other ones I'm going to go to Oregon because it's close to here. I told them, I don't want to fly to the East Coast.
Yeah.
That's fair. A whole day. That's a long, it burns up 4 or 5 days. So I'm going to do Oregon. And then the one match they're going to let me do, they want me to do, which they approved, is when Nebraska goes to USC, UCLA. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. And I think I'm doing the color for that. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to do the 3 Nebraska Public Television matches that they asked me to do. I will be in Lincoln those weekends there's different events I'm going back for. And so it just worked out. Like all 3 of those, I'm back in Lincoln. I was just going to go watch the match. And so now I'm going to do it for them.
To work.
Yeah. So it just kind of worked out. So I'll be doing probably like 10 matches, something like that.
That's what this broadcasting thing will do to you. You try to dip a toe in it, and pretty soon they suck you into doing like 3 shows a week.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I really like it, and again, I want to stay connected to volleyball, and and some days I question, okay, I retired, but they're letting me do all this, from here, and I can control my schedule, and because I really want to be in Wyoming. My grandkids are here. And Lauren's here, and I'm really enjoying the mountains, and so I want to, so I can control this a little bit. But I will be busy, and I'll be grinding, especially the next 2 months here. Yeah,
for sure. The retired life, it doesn't mean you're slowing down; it just means you're on to different ventures. So, well, cool. Well, John, we appreciate your time. Good luck with the Supernovas GM signing those last couple of players, and enjoy your new broadcasting career. We welcome you to the media world as well. So thanks for joining us this week.
Well, thanks. It's an honor to be on, and you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. And I've been listening to all your comments and opinions and thoughts and what you see. So it's great for the sport of volleyball and for Nebraska. So great job, and hats off to you guys for doing this.
Thanks, John. All right, we are back here in Volleyball State. There we go. Yeah, we'll figure out how to seamlessly transition from a pre-recorded interview one of these times. But John Cook, very kind to join us again. I think that was his 3rd appearance on the show. That's sets our new record, I think. But just a quick notes, Lincoln, on what he was talking about. First of all, I thought it was really fascinating that they initially approached him to maybe be the next coach of the Supernovas. When that change was made, and it sounded like it was a little bit more of a time commitment than he wanted to make, but he's already been able to kind of like jump in with both feet as a general manager. And then how about potentially the Supernovas coming down to Lincoln and playing a match there? Yeah,
that to me was kind of news. It's very unclear. I guess maybe the question was, or what he said too, who they were playing with, whether it be a league match for the Supernovas or they're playing an exhibition against Love. That'd be awesome. I don't know if the 2 leagues are that friendly of terms, but sounds like the Supernovas are trying to. The very preliminary stage. I talked to a couple of people, and it's basically the idea phase right now. There's a lot of things that have to work out with schedules, with wrestling, because wrestling and women's gymnastics also use the Devaney Center after volleyball season is over. So, fascinating with John, and glad he could join us, and hopefully his shed is up very soon.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, let's move on to rotation 3. We're going to keep the show moving here. It is now time to do something we're going to do every week here on Volleyball State, which is take a look at the upcoming opponents for Nebraska. And oh my goodness, does Nebraska have a tough opponent to open the regular season with? The number 3 preseason rated Pittsburgh Panthers, who have been to the Final Four each of the last 4 years. Though, Lincoln, I didn't realize this until I read Oh, say that. Yeah, until
No.
I read it in your great preview capsules at Huskers Illustrated that everyone should check out on Nebraska's non-conference opponents. They've lost in the national semifinals each of those times.
Yeah, they lost to Nebraska twice, Louisville once, and I'm trying to remember who the fourth one was back in 20. It would have been 20.
Would they have lost to Texas?
Maybe, I forget who that was, or they maybe lost to Wisconsin. I think lost to Wisconsin maybe a year. Or I don't know, but yeah. Okay. So it's Sorry, they have really good seasons, just can't finish the job too.
33-2 a year ago. They won the ACC, going 19-1. The only team I believe they lost to was SMU down in Dallas. But Nebraska has beaten Pittsburgh 14 times without a loss in the series history. We thought we were going to get this matchup in the national championship last year in Louisville, but then both Nebraska and Pittsburgh fell in the national semifinals. And, kind of the headline of Pitt this offseason is one of their best players hit the transfer portal. Torrey Stafford transferred to Texas. So they lose a big gun there. They also lose their setter, Rachel Fairbanks, who has done some started her international career playing in some Team USA programs. She was really good. Their second outside hitter, Valeria Vasquez Gomez, also graduated, as did another backup outside hitter, Kat Flood. Their libero, Emmy Klika, who has played on some Team USA programs this summer, also graduated. So when you look at it, Pitt has lost a ton. However, they returned potentially the best player in the country in Olivia Babcock, their reigning national player of the year and starting opposite hitter.
Yeah, just a junior too. She won that award during her sophomore season, so she can add more tools. She's not a fully finished product yet too. So she's dangerous. All 6 rotations, great out of the back row, great out of the front rows, a force at the net, and is an amazing server as well too. So she can hurt you no matter where she is. Kind of the big question I have about Pitt is who's going to be their starting setter. They did get Brooke Mosher, who transferred in from Illinois. They did have another setter on their roster as well too. But you bring Mosher in to get that starting job. So. But they also returned to their 2 key middle blockers in Bree Kelly and Ryla Jones, 2 outstanding players there too, who kind of a borderline All-American. I mean, they're some of the better middle blockers in the country as well too. So how do you beat Pitt? What's kind of your take on how do you break them down? And we talk about all the talent they have. Yeah. How do you go about beating them though?
So Pittsburgh last year, I don't know if we mentioned this, they led the nation in attack percentage, and I think they led the nation in opponents' attack percentage as well. And if they didn't lead them in both, they were top 3 or 4 in both. I know they led the nation in attack percentage, and I don't have that number off the top of my head, but it was like north of 330 as a team, which is insane. So I mean, you kind of have to keep Pitt out of system. You got to serve them tough. You have to do that with every team that has a dynamic hitter. But Babcock is so good. She's kind of the ultimate bailout, right? Like they can throw her up and out of system ball. They can set her in the back row. And so Nebraska is just going to have to dig balls. They're going to have to play floor defense. The block's going to have to come to play. And then Nebraska is going to have to win the battle in transition. But then the other thing I look at too, we listed all of the things that Pitt lost, especially offensively. They lost a lot defensively. The top 4 leaders in digs from last season are gone. So you have to make Pitt play floor defense, right? Keep the ball in bounds, make them dig balls, serve gaps, and just kind of make them move around because they're going to have a lot of new people back there in the back row.
Yeah. Instant fast check while you were talking. I got to look this up. They were number 1 in hitting percentage at 332, number 3 in defensive at 135. Creighton was number 2 offensively and number 1 defensively. That's Creighton and Bucknell were only had slightly better defensive, but they bring a lot too. So, and I think, what you want, if you're playing Pittsburgh, what you want to do is get your middles involved early as well too, and kind of get them get spread out their defense a little bit too. They have great middle blockers, but if they are having to pause a little bit and not knowing where the ball is going to go, that can really break down their defense and open up, like you said, that floor defense is another way to break down and find easy points that way.
Pittsburgh played their inter-squad scrimmage this past weekend. I think it's just called the Blue Gold match. And Olivia Babcock had something like 21 or 24 kills in
21 kills at 419, according to our good friend Avid. And then Blair Bayless, who I think is also going to be an interesting player for them. She had 18 kills, hit 311. So
she's going to be that second outside hitter spot, it looks like. So Pitt's going to have plenty of firepower. It remains to be seen how Brooke Mosher is going to do setting that offense. Illinois didn't have an obscene hitting percentage with her running the show last year, but Dan Fisher's a really good coach, and so if he sees something that he likes in her, then she's probably pretty good. So that's going to be at 6 p.m. Friday, the first match of the AVCA First Serve from Pinnacle Bank Arena. Reminder, Lincoln and I will have a live pregame show from the rail yard down there starting at about 4 o'clock on Friday. We'll go about an hour to give everyone plenty of time to get inside and watch that match. But, this is probably one of the tougher season openers that I can remember Nebraska playing in a little while.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of those vert challenge matches as well too. Nebraska used to play on kind of in the teams, whether Texas, Oregon, and
Florida.
Yeah, Stanford would play in them occasionally. So yeah, it's. I mean, this is not Nebraska Pitt 2024. Both teams will look slightly different, but I think there'll be some juice in the PBA as well too. People can be excited for this. So I'm excited to see what volleyball looks like. I haven't attended a VNL match, but a Husker volleyball match in PBA should be exciting.
Absolutely. And that's not the only match Nebraska plays this weekend as we move into rotation 4. The Huskers renew their old rivalry with Stanford. Man, it feels like these teams have played a ton lately. I think this is the third straight regular season that I think
they've played every year since 2019, except for the COVID season too. I mean, they had a 4-year contract, and this was supposed to be the first year where they didn't play in the non-conference. And then, they get to play again as part of the First Serve Showcase. So.
That's right. Well, Nebraska's won the last 2 at least. Stanford went 28-5 last season, 17-3 in the ACC. So they were right in there with Pitt until the very end, trying to win that conference title along with Louisville. Last year, Stanford went to the regional final, the Elite Eight, where they lost to Louisville. Stanford still leads the all-time series against Nebraska, which goes back to the early 1980s. Stanford's won 12 of the 20 matches, but Nebraska did sweep last year and swept them pretty good. They dominated that match last year in the Devaney Center. They also won the year before in 4, I believe, out in Palo Alto. So Stanford really, Lincoln, has to replace kind of their ball handling battery. An outstanding libero, Elena Ogilvie, graduated last year, as well as their excellent setter, Cammie Minor. Their middle blocker, Sammy Francis, also has left. So Stanford returns a lot on the pins, but they're still trying to figure out their setting situation. And they could try a couple of different things from what I've seen.
Yeah, they got to. I mean, I think the highlight. This is Stanford too. They're not getting a lot of transfers in to replace the talent that they lose through graduation too. But Logan Parks is one of the best setters, I think, in the recruiting class of 2025. So she'll have a chance. They have a couple other players on their roster returning as.
The interesting thing I saw about Parks too is they could play her at opposite. So they could screw around and run a 6-2 where she hits in the front row and she sets in the back row. She's one of the best freshmen in the country. And I think they're going to try a number of different ways to use her.
Yeah. They'll have Taylor Hughes, also the other setter they have on their roster as well too. So they got options too. But I think what Stanford has in their favor is they return a lot of their attacking options. Elia Rubin returns as well too, as Ipar Kurt as well. And Jordan Harvey is at opposite as well too. So they get a lot of firepower coming back at the pins. The one thing I worry about too, they lost Ogilvie, is that Stanford was never. I mean, their outsides were not the best passing players from what I recall. So if they get a lot of passing questions in my mind too, they need to answer early in the season. And if you hang around after Nebraska Pitt, you'll get to see Stanford in action as well too.
Yeah, a big a plus that Kevin Hambley also has coming back this year is a sophomore outside hitter, Julia Blyashov. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She missed last season with an injury and is back practicing with the team. Seems to be fully recovered. So that's another potential pin hitting option for Kevin Hambley's crew. So Stanford's always good. They are going to have to put together the pieces a little bit this year. The other thing we know about Stanford is they're a very aggressive serving team. They committed a ton of service errors last year, but they get teams out of system quite a bit as well. So a lot of returning firepower on the pins for Stanford. They got to figure out setting. They got to figure out ball handling. And Nebraska is sort of a hard team to have your dress rehearsal against.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think if you stay in system and attack Stanford, that bodes well for your chances of winning too. So if Nebraska can do that and really make make Stanford prove its Florida defense, I think things will go Nebraska's way. So that's Nebraska's second match on Sunday. Let's move on to rotation 5. Talk about the other matches that are going. I mean, this is a big event. I mean, there'll be 8 matches over the course of 4 days, 2 locations going on. So we've talked about the 2 matches that Nebraska is going to play, but there's a lot of other things going on too. So we mentioned after Nebraska, Pitt play on Friday, Stanford and Florida will play the nightcap. So that'll stick around for that one. You get to see the coaching debut of Florida's new head coach replacing Mary Wise. So stick around for
Ryan
that one.
Teese.
Ryan Teese, yes, from Marquette. So what else we got on tap for the weekend, Jeff?
Let's see. We just left off there. Sorry, I was checking the I-80 Club Discord. We had someone who actually jumped in with Stanford passing stats. Like, how many other podcasts out there do you have your listeners jump in and tell you that Elliot Rubin's a pretty good passer, but Ikpar Kurt has work to do? Kansas versus Vanderbilt on Saturday. And so that's an amazing, moment for Vanderbilt, and Coach Anders Nelson, who we talked with this summer, gets to come in and restart that program in Pinnacle Bank Arena. And then Creighton versus Penn State. This was an insanely good Elite 8 match last year in Happy Valley, and Creighton was like, inches away from winning this and going to the Final Four. It went 5, and Penn State ended up prevailing, but that's an entirely different story if Creighton wins that match, and then it's Creighton versus Nebraska in the Final Four. Like, everyone's heads would have exploded. Exactly. Yeah. And then coming up on Sunday, we have Florida versus Pittsburgh, and then Nebraska will take on Stanford in the early afternoon, and then we'll be able to recap that all on Sunday night on Volleyball State.
Yeah, if we were just doing a 3-day extravaganza in Lincoln, that'd be good. But no, you get a second city involved in this.
But wait, there's more.
Showcase up in Sioux Falls on Monday at the Stanford Pentagon. Great venue. I've been up there a couple times for Nebraska basketball played up there. It's a fun little venue, home of the Sioux Falls Skyforce of the G League. So on Monday evening at 5:30, we'll see Kansas versus Penn State. So Matt Ulmer will get to play against Katie Schumacher-Cawley and the Nittany Lions. And then what I'm excited about that is the nightcap there. Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, will take on Texas A&M. It'll be kind of a top. Minnesota, I don't think is a top 10, but they're top 12. A&M's in the top 10. The first time they've ever been ranked preseason top 10. So I think that'd be a really exciting matchup between two heavyweights that are looking to make a deep run in the postseason. And
you got Logan Lednicki, that great Texas A&M opposite hitter. For the Aggies, and then Julia Hansen, who is probably going to be an all Big Ten outside hitter for Minnesota this year. That's going to be a fun match.
Yeah, and like our good friend John Cook said, he will be there on the call on Big Ten Network for those matches. So check that out. Don't fall asleep on Sunday. Try to recover, power through that one more day, 2 more matches up in Sioux Falls. It'll be a great weekend. So what are some other, we kind of get high level overview of these. What are you looking for in some of these matches?
Well, I think it's a celebration, first of all, that Vanderbilt comes back to the big time. I don't know how many of these matches they're going to win. I don't know how many sets they're going to win this weekend, but the fact that they're kind of at this dance is a great testament to what they're trying to do. Penn State, the retooled Nittany Lions, right? You've got Kennedy Martin at opposite. You've got Emmy Selman, the Ohio State transfer, in there as well. How is Katie Schumacher-Cawley incorporate some of these new pieces with Izzy Stark, the great returning setter they have? Just of local interest, right? Creighton begins a new chapter. They lost a ton last year, and they begin life, post Nora Sis and Kendra Waite. So Ava Martin, that's going to be her team to lead this year. What's Creighton going to look like? And we have a lot of new coaches, right? This weekend, we just named off some of them. Nebraska, Kansas, Creighton, and Florida are all breaking in new bosses. So, hey, welcome to the big time, everyone.
Yeah, that'll be exciting matches. So hopefully, we'll see out there. Watch. And the weird part is, I think they're all going to be on different networks. Fridays on Fox, Saturdays FS1, Sundays on ESPN, and then Mondays on Big Ten Network. So everyone gets a little bite of the action to start off the season.
That's right. And hey, you don't need to watch all of those matches if they don't fit in your cable or your streaming plans. If you want, you can just come right back here next Sunday and we're going to talk about all of them on Volleyball State. We will be your one-stop recap shop for the nation's biggest volleyball matches. And as we've sort of mentioned a little bit throughout the show, as we go into rotation 6, we're just going to talk about that because there is a ton of stuff that we're going to be doing next weekend. We mentioned that Friday, we've got our live pre-match special. It's going to be about 4 o'clock Central Time start, and that's going to be free and open to everyone. So look for the YouTube links for that. We will put it on our social channels. Check out Volleyball Pod, and we'll make sure you get that link. That's going to be live from the AVCA block party in the rail yard. We're going to be previewing Nebraska versus Pitt on Friday night, Florida versus Stanford on Friday night, and then look ahead to those Saturday matches, which is Kansas Vanderbilt and Creighton versus Penn State. And that's not even the only thing we're doing Friday, right, Lincoln?
No, we're going to come back after that match. Again, free to everyone. Look out. We'll look at our social media. We will post this link. You can watch it live. Also, it'll come out in your podcast feed, but we are going to do a volleyball late. We're probably going to go about half hour after the last point of the Nebraska match, after post-game press conferences. Jeff and I will jump on here and we will break it all down, win, loss, whatever. We will talk about what the first match of the 2025 season looks like. So our best guess is it'll probably start 8:30.
It's going to be like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's going to be like including if we get the tech setup, done right. We're doing some testing this week. We're walking without a net, and y'all are going to see that next week. But we've got some good people helping us out, and I think it's gonna be really exciting. And who knows, maybe that means we can take this show on the road a little bit later. And then we're going to come back on Sunday, right? Live stream of Volleyball State right here at 7 o'clock, recap the weekend. And then we're going to look ahead to week 2 of the college volleyball season, which is another huge weekend with the opening Spike Classic up in Madison, Wisconsin. You're going to have Wisconsin, Texas, Creighton, and Kansas playing up there as well. Before, that's not even to mention the Nebraska matches.
Well, yeah. Nebraska's going to Nashville. It'll be a Nashville party. So bring your kicks ready.
Are you going to that, by the way? Have you decided?
Yes,
okay.
I have a plane ticket. I will be out in Nashville for both the Lipscomb match and the Sunday showdown against Kentucky on the part of the Broadway block party. So we'll be there live.
Many block parties that we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So that is our show for this week. So thank you to our great friends at Alumni Hall for sponsoring us this week and all season long too. Again, if you want more content, there's going to be so much coming this week. But if that's not enough, go to volleyballstate.com. You can follow us on social media, watch our videos on TikTok, on YouTube, tweet at us, send us some Instagram DMs. I don't know. Whatever you do.
Take some snail mail there. I think Lincoln's home address is on that link tree.
I hope not. But sure, if you have it, mail me a postcard. Email us at volleyballstate@gmail.com. But that's our show for this week. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you for supporting Volleyball State. And thank you for living in the Volleyball State.